Pennsylvania. I went to Henderson High School. When I was there, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was all over the place. I was interested in architecture, in international relations, and history. It never really occurred to me that I would end up in a mathematical field at all. Back in my sophomore year in high school, I did a short summer program at Columbia University. It was for architecture. They focused a lot more on the art aspect. I decided, you know what, maybe this isn't for me, maybe I have a different calling. So I went through high school, and a little bit later I discovered that I really liked history and international affairs in particular. By that point I built up a pretty good reading habit. I was into all these areas, but I decided to consciously block off math. At the same time, there was pressure from my family to go into computer science. There was also a lot of pressure from my friends not to conform to the what was then known as the Asian Indian way of things, which would be to go into engineering or go into medicine or go into computer science, some mathematical or scientific field. I was probably a bit rebellious, so I pushed back. Fast forward to my senior year, and I got into UNC Chapel Hill in North Carolina. I was looking through the course listing for public policy and peace studies, and I was disappointed because it wasn't very interesting to me, and I didn't know what to do because that's what I had intended to major in. So when I did go to school, I went in undeclared. And I took a few classes just to test out the waters. I took one class in psychology, a music class, some math classes. It wasn't until my second semester of my freshman year that I discovered statistics and operations research. I took a class called Introduction to Logic. Very difficult course, but extremely interesting. At that point I thought, what was I thinking trying to go into world affairs? Why am I not in math? And I declared my first major in statistics and OR. It just drew me in, and all of the classes that I took in that course afterwards, that major afterwards, were super interesting. The same semester, in fact, I took my first programming class. It was called Introduction to Scientific Programming. And I was surprised at how diverse computer science actually was. At the end of my sophomore year in college, I had an amazing opportunity to go to the UK and work with other students from all over the world, and with PhD students from Oxford. And we were all working on a bioinformatics project. I was the noob in the group. I didn't know all that much. So I chose to focus on the more mathematical portions. And my God, it was interesting. All of these mathematical constructs that I would soon learn in my junior year, I got introduced to through this project. Enter junior year, and I take what remains to be my favorite course in all of college, which was stochastic models. And I remember the call I gave my dad that night. And I said, I think I want to do computer science. And he reacted with a sort of amused annoyance. This is what I've been telling you for 2 or 3 years now. So that was quite a call. The area that I was focusing on turned out to be under the umbrella of artificial intelligence. And I would end up taking a lot more courses in this area. I took machine learning in my senior year. My junior year I took robotics. I have a solid foundation now that I didn't have before. The summer after my junior year, I did another internship in SAS Institute. It's a software engineering company, but they focused on analytics software. I worked there this summer, but I also worked as a part-time student employee throughout the year. So I did get a little bit of experience in data analytics. I really wanted to do a lot more software engineering. So in my senior year, I had interviewed at a number of companies, And I heard back from Oracle and they had offered me the best compensation at the time. So I went with them and I moved out to Santa Clara, California. So it was a very big change. I worked there for just under a year. So I had done a lot of work around data analytics, but I also had the nice counterbalance of doing some programming work. In June of 2015, I interviewed at Facebook and they made me an offer, which I was ecstatic about. So when I transferred to Facebook, I realized that almost immediately I got to do a lot more coding and system building. And I was so happy with that. It was such a breath of fresh air. Right now, I work as a software engineer. I don't know how many people are familiar with On This Day. So it's a product within Facebook where we try to resurface quality memories to users. What I do, I'm a machine learning engineer, so I work with my team to figure out what makes a memory good and what makes a memory bad. There's a lot I like about it. I think the biggest perk is the food. The food is very good, but for a few places it's pretty much free. But I don't have to worry about coming home at night and making dinner and getting up early in the morning and cooking lunch for myself and packing it and bringing it to work and all of that nonsense. I get to socialize with my coworkers. I'm very happy with the team I work with right now. It's ironically one of the most important parts of the job, but it's not very enjoyable, and that's testing out your code. The money is really good. The pay is good. I don't buy brand name clothing or anything, but a lot of my coworkers do, so you can definitely go do that. You're definitely able to pay your bills. If you have student loans, it's not very hard to pay them off either. I'm able to indulge any hobbies that I have. I like cooking. I like to knit, so I buy yarn a lot, and I like to read. So I'm a huge book buyer, book collector. I like where I am. I like coding. I like machine learning. I'd like to explore more areas in artificial intelligence. I wish I hadn't cut off myself from science and engineering. There were plenty of science clubs that I could have joined. Obviously, I'm in a good place now, so it didn't hinder me too much, but I think I could have saved a lot more time deciding what I wanted to do. Try to be independent-minded. There's so many resources nowadays. I mean, you have the internet at your disposal. It's very easy to take a quick online class, dip your toes in the water to see if you like things. It'll also probably save you a lot of time in college. I don't think there's much of an excuse in the digital age not to know a lot of these things, and I wish I'd taken advantage of these resources myself. So do your research is my biggest piece of advice.